All right, guys. So we're here. We're upon request. A lot of you guys want me to talk about cranks. So let me run down cranks for you. 3-piece cranks, 2-piece cranks, and I don't know if you guys even know there is a 2/3-piece cranks. So let me start by saying the most common crank is a 3-piece that uses a 19 diameter 48 spline. This is the most common. Most of the bikes that comes complete comes with a 19 diameter and 8 spline. I have one right here, but it's not taken apart. Notice the 8 spline right here. I'm being lazy, I don't want to take it apart, but it's 19. The next one is a 22 diameter. 19, 22, 48 spline, 19. Actually, I think it's more than 48, isn't it? Is it 48, 22?
No, it's 48.
Or was it 32? Well, it's 22. 3-piece. But check this out. Primo has a 22 diameter spindle, just like this, but it is square instead of spline. Oh, you know what I'm missing? I'm missing a 24, guys. Dang it. There's also a 24. Oh, that's why. That's why, guys, I don't have it because we are out of 24 demolition revolt. So there's also a 24 spindle where this is a lot bigger. 3-piece. Sorry, my apology. And there is a 2-piece. Notice how one side of the spindle is welded to the arm. And so you only remove it with just one bolt instead of the spindle where it's a universal left or right and the arm could either go either or. This is a 2-piece. They make a 2-piece. This is a 2-piece 22 diameter, same as this, spline, but it's 2-piece. Odyssey did a 22, and unlike the Primo, what is that? That's not an octagon. That's an no.
It's 6.
6. Hexagon. That's embarrassing. So it's a hexagon instead of a square, but it's a 22. And Odyssey uses that, and it uses their patented wedge system. But I don't know if some of you guys know this. There is a 2-piece/3-piece. What the hell does that mean? I don't know of any other company that still does that, but Fly at one time uses that. 1, 2, 3-piece. So how is this a 2-piece? It's because if you look, this is a 22, but this end right here, it's actually like a 23, I think. Never taken the measurement, it's just my lucky guess. If you notice, this side, it'll go in, but it won't slide in any further. So one arm, there is a left and a right arm. So this arm, if you look, it'll slide through, and the spline meets up here. So you have to press it. I'm not gonna press it in because once it's in, it's not gonna come out. And then this one goes in. So the reason why they said it's like a 2/3-piece is because you cannot use this thing left or right. You have to use this one arm, slide it in, and put this in. And if you have a left side crank, well, the left side arm will have a bigger opening than the other side, so it's vice versa. Bet you guys never knows that. So we're here to talk about not just the anatomy of a crank like this, but a lot of you guys might wish, man, you know what? How come nobody ever told me this about a crank and make the same mistake? So when you guys go out and buy a crank, you guys say, you know what? Crank's a crank. I want 3-piece crank because 3-piece crank is stronger. But this is what you guys might want to understand. With a traditional 3-piece, this side right here, it doesn't matter which side this thing goes. It could go left or right. The arm itself, there is a left and a right. But I've done it because in situation where the customer was buying for some money and they couldn't do it, we will take a left side and switch it to the right. Or if you happen to have a 3-piece and this side is stripped and seized in there, or the bolt snap and you can't get it out, guess what? All you have to do is remove this arm over here out, and you could hit this whole thing out and you could remove your cranks, or vice versa. The other advantage in having a 3-piece, a true 3-piece, is that if you have your cranks together like so, and your sprocket was on the right side, and you want to switch out a different sprocket, all you have to do is remove the right arm, tap it out, and put the sprocket back in and install. You would never have to remove the other side. This whole section stays in. So that's another advantage. The other advantage, the third advantage, is this thing's very heavy. I don't think you guys can feel this. It's the option in material spindle. This is a chromoly spindle. This is a titanium spindle. Huge weight difference. You could also tell because of color. So, like these Colt Chase Hawk, they're 22. But just like the Primo Pro cranks, I think the Stranger, the Mass 2 V2, they also use a 22. And some of the other cranks out there, they use 22. Very similar spline. Guess what? I got a little bucks in my pockets, burning a hole in my pants. I'm gonna go out and get a titanium spindle and lighten up my bike. No problem. Get this one in, swap it out, and it'll change as long as it's a 22 and the spline is 48. So that is the 3 huge advantage. Even the Primo Power Bite, it does have a spline, but guess what? They have 2 different spindle options. Heavy titanium, light, no, what did I just say?
Heavy titanium.
Was it that beer I had?
That one beer.
The half beer I had. So the heavier chromoly, lighter titanium. But keep in mind, guys, the one thing I like about it is that it gives you a foolproof where if one side is stripped, it's forgiving because you could always remove the other side. And it'll make working on the sprocket even easier because you could just remove it. So, now some of you guys might go, wait, so I can do that? No, on a 2-piece, even though some of you guys might go, well, what's the major difference? The 2-piece, the reason why they do it, and it's my opinion, is they're getting rid of all the hardware, nuts and bolts and all that, and they make it lighter. Like for example, this Colony one is a 2-piece. Look at how they weld that. They weld that whole spindle in there, and it's all hollow. You're losing all the nuts, the bolts, and this is where the bolt is. It's actually it's one of the lightest chromoly cranks I've felt. But if you strip that bolt, you're done. You got to drill it out. You got to bring it to a machine shop. You got to do some easy out. Some of you guys have some home remedy to extract it, but for most of the people out there, they're done. How you can get it off? You can't open this side. There's nothing here. The Stranger, same thing. There's no bolt for you to remove. So once you strip this side, you're done. Same thing with the Thunderbolts. You only got one side, but look, see how they welded in there? It's hollow, it's light. So once this side's stripped, how are you gonna remove it? You can't remove. Plus, hey, you know what? I wanna lighten up my bike. Yes, you know what? The 2-piece is technically lighter than a 3, but I can lighten it up by getting a titanium spindle. You can't. The option here is you're stuck. But I'm not saying these are bad cranks. There are people out there, they like the simplicity. They like the strength, because these right here, I personally, I haven't ever seen this crank break, but that's because they welded in there instead of using a bolt. But there's advantage and disadvantage. So you guys might be going, oh yeah, damn, I wish I would have figured that out. Also, here's a big thing. Some of you guys run spline drive instead of a sprocket bolt driven. With a traditional 3-piece like this, like a spline one, a 22 or a 19, or even the 24 that I don't have, you can run a spline left or right. It doesn't matter. Well, guess what? On a 2-piece, you could only run it on one side. If you like this set right here happened to be a left side drive, you can only run a left crank, left side drive sprocket on spline, not using a sprocket bolt. So if you happen to go, you know what, I'm gonna sell this. I'm gonna sell it to a guy. Well, you know what, you gotta find something to run left. You cannot run right spline. So that's another thing, you're stuck. So again, another limitation. The Thunderbolts, there's no spline at all. There's no spline at all. And you know what? I'm not a fan of spline, so I might be a fan of this, but you can't run spline. So there's that disadvantage. With the gnarly fly, this is not the current fly one. This is a really old fly one, but there was a time that everybody did this. You could only run the spline on the 22 side because nobody makes a spline with this type of spline. If you look carefully, I don't know if Alf could zoom in. The splines are flat. Did you see that? And this spline, they're not flat. They're kind of sharp. They don't make a spline driven that will fit into this. So you can only fit that side. So again, guys, I don't know if you guys understand. The point of this whole thing is not to say this is better, this is more superior. No. But before you go and purchase cranks, make sure you plan ahead. You want to make sure, for some of you guys that likes options, you guys like, choices, the 3-piece one, the true 3-piece one might be what you guys want. The 2-piece not. If you guys want simplicity, then yes, this is simple. 1 bolt, 1 and done. I only wish somebody would have told me this when I was young, when I was buying stuff. And some of you guys might think going, oh man, yeah, I made that same mistake. See you guys next time. You got any question, comment?